Oh, let's get it. Hello YouTube. It is your boy, B3, back with, I guess you could say, another video in this series. It's actually very likely that this is the first video in the series that you're seeing, even though I've already done over half a dozen of them, probably. So, because this one is free. This is a video in my patron exclusive series where I go through notes for my TTRPG homebrew campaigns and I read the first drafts of those notes and we talk about them. All the ones I've done so far are for games that I have not played yet. This is for a game that I have played now. These are my first draft notes for it all together. And I actually think it'll be pretty fun. It was a really enjoyable game. There were big mistakes made that have been corrected for future runnings if it ever happens. I won't run it with the same group again, but you know. So, but yeah, this series is me reading the first drafts. There's a bunch of them on Patreon already. This one's just up on YouTube and free on Patreon as well. And the reason that I'm making this one the free one is because it's for one I've already played that isn't a spoiler for my players, and also it's to kind of get you guys to join my Patreon. Please, I need the help. But yeah, so this is for a campaign I wrote called Cult of the Exo. It was a one-shot that took place in the 1920s. This was my very first time running Call of Cthulhu, and my first time also playing Call of Cthulhu, and the first time I'd been a GM in a long time. Now what I did was, I had my three players, Big Boy Chungus, Karen the Manager Slayer, and Kami, make the 1920s themed characters they want. I was like, it takes place in 1920s New York. So you do you. Pick something. Karen played a mob boss. She was a mob boss lady. I don't make the characters adhere to like racist and sexist and homophobic stuff over the time. I just toss that. That's it's yeah. No. Big Boy Chungus played a fisherman whose boat was his livelihood and his home. Home is where the shard is. And then Kami wanted a character that connected with Karen's because they're married. So he made a dirty cop that did stuff for the mob. And if you want to hear about more of their characters in depth and stuff, you can listen to our episode of the podcast. Cult. It's called Call of Cthulhu, Cult of the Exo, on the Tabletop Recap podcast. Link in the description below. And also that that podcast is what this show is a behind the scenes show for. So yeah, so the character names are just going to be the names of the players, because what I did was I had them make those characters, and then I kind of wrote the introduction to the campaign and stuff around the characters they built, which is something that I recommend that GMs do. I wrote the campaign around the characters they chose. So I made it so, like, once again, Kami's character was a dirty cop. For Karen's character and Big Boy Chungus's character owes Karen's character or the mob a debt, and they all agreed to these terms. I didn't just throw these on them. So Big Boy Chungus comes towards shore to see Karen and her goons waiting for him. She had two goons, Abbott and Costello. There were a lot of classic horror references. Yes, I know Abbott and Costello are comedians, but they were in the greatest horror comedy of all time and the worst horror comedy of all time, Frankenstein and Mummy, respectively. So, they hear a scream and a man falls through some boxes with a hole in his chest. Then Kami's character runs in. The man who fell hands them an ornate dagger, telling them to keep it hidden, and dies. If his wallet is checked, which they did check, they see his name is Vincent Lugosi, Vincent Price, Bela Lugosi, two of the best actors of all time, and he lives at 130 Winston Avenue. He also has a list of names in his pockets. All are crossed off except for Darius Jackson, Winston Limley, Carl Limley Jr., obviously, and Agatha Mayhart, a very famous actress. And, of course, Vincent Lugosi. These are the only names not crossed out on the list. They rolled some checks. All of them knew who Agatha Mayhart was, because that one was a very easy check, but the rest of them weren't. The only one who recognized them was Karen's character, because they were all, and all she did was like, I recognize these names as all rich people, because she was a rich character. So the address is supposed to have them go to his house. They went to the theater for some reason, even though I gave them an address. But if they go to his house, Darius Jackson is waiting inside. So Darius Jackson is in Vincent Lugosi's house, right? Darius agrees to tell them everything when the exomorph bursts through the window and buries its tentacles in his facial orifices. The exomorph is a creature that is based on my two favorite Stan Winston monsters, Xenomorph and Pumpkinhead. It basically has the body of... It's basically the dog Xenomorph from Alien 3. But it's purple and it has a Cthulhu head. It's like a big bulbous octopus head with tentacles and black eyes and a beak under there. And I was like, my first Call of Cthulhu monster has to have tentacles. It has to. So yeah, it jumps in, kills him by burying its tentacles in like his eye holes and his nose holes and his mouth holes and just crushing his face and ripping it apart. They thought that was creepy. And then if they visit Winston Limley, which they can get they can get his address many ways. They can look it up. They got it from a Rolodex just in the other house. If they visit Winston Limley, he is, my actual note says, batshit insane. He thinks they're from the Order of the Exo and are there to sick their dog on him, which is, of course, the exomorph. Suddenly they hear something land on the roof and work its way inside onto the upper floor. The exomorphs come for Winston. The monster appears in the doorway with the group between it and its victim. The monster tries to get past them to kill Winston. And the monster leaves when Winston is dead. Here's the thing about the exomorph. This is kind of where the Pumpkinhead inspiration comes in a bit. It only kills its the chosen target for it. The way the exomorph works is it can be given to very loyal worshippers of the Void Fiends if they summon it. The Void Fiends are kind of my cosmic horror god things. They'll be elaborated on more later. And I'm going to give you guys stat blocks for them in the $10 tier. These videos are in the $5 tier. In the $10 tier, you get downloads of like all my adventures and also stat blocks and everything. But yeah, the exomorph comes with that dagger. The exomorph chooses a victim, brings it to the cult, and then the cult kills that victim with the dagger, which is a contract with the exomorph, so that if they tell the exomorph, kill this person, the exomorph will go do it. And it'll only try to kill that person unless someone tries to stop it. In that case, it'll kill anyone who gets in its way, but if they're not actively trying to stop it from killing that person, it'll just go around them. So they have to... I made them do a spot hidden check to find an invitation to an old invitation to a party that Agatha Mayhart threw. This was a mistake. I should have just given it to them, because if they miss this spot hidden, they won't get it. And they did miss that spot hidden, so I was like, uh-oh, this was a problem. This was bad writing. So she's an eccentric actress who tells the investigators about the Order of the Exo. And it's everything I just told you about worshiping the Void Fiends, how it works. She gives them everything. And she says the exomorph was sent to kill everyone who left the cult. So that list of people were all these rich, affluent people who left the cult. Once the cult started killing people, they were all like, whoa, 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 whoa. We were just worshiping these entropy fiends. Like, we thought, we were talking about they were kind of worshiping this natural death of the universe, and they weren't like, we don't want to kill people. We don't want to actively destroy things. So yeah, they all left. And she says that she doubts she'll be targeted because the leader of the order was sweet on her. Suddenly, the exomorph falls through the ceiling, but instead of advancing on Agatha, it advances on the group. If the group fights the exomorph, it focuses on the men. It does, because I rolled a d3 to see who would get kidnapped, which of the player characters would get kidnapped, and Karen's character was the one who was going to get kidnapped, so it's not trying to kill her. If the group runs, the exomorph focuses on chasing Karen. The exomorph drags Karen away. If they do not outrun it, they didn't. After the chase fight, they have to fight two cultists, which helps the exomorph escape. Investigators can get details on cultist lair by asking Agatha or interrogating cultists. They spent a lot of time interrogating the cultist, and they just never asked Agatha. But they were going to if they couldn't get anything out of the cultists, apparently. So that's good to know. So it says that whoever's kidnapped can overhear cultists in the lair talking about how the exomorph needs a new sacrifice before it'll kill for them again, etc., etc. It wants Karen to be the sacrifice, but they don't have the dagger. The other adventurers have it. So they need the void dagger, or it'll turn on them. If they don't kill the people it specifically asks them to form its contract, it'll just kill everyone until it's killed. It'll just kill everyone it comes into contact with. Very dangerous creature. So to complete the module, the players can kill Karen's character and get control of the exomorph, which is for some reason the first option I have. They can destroy the dagger. If they destroy the dagger, the creature disappears back into the void. Or they can kill the exomorph. If the exomorph cannot get its sacrifice, it kills all the cultists. Yeah. And that's basically it. There were a lot of things that I did wrong in this first draft. Never have one player character kidnapped. Always have either all of them kidnapped or none of them kidnapped. I should have had Agatha kidnapped, and maybe the cult leader would have been like wishy-washy on whether to kill her or not because he wants to smash. But that's about it. I'm recording this on my phone and it's about to run out of power. I do have stat blocks for cultists and the exomorph, because the exomorph is a original quote-unquote creature of mine, and there's no like human stat blocks in the rulebook, so I had to create some of my own stat blocks. I will put these stat blocks up on I'll put these stat blocks up on the $10 tier. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. If you want to see more videos in this series, definitely check out our Patreon. These are in the $5 tier, which includes all our videos and everything that is in the $1 tier as well. That's it. Thank you all once again for your support. See you all next time. Bye for now.